Hi, ladies, it's Mr. O'Sullivan.
Hi, ladies, it's Miss C.
And today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing lesson 5-7, the exterior angle theorem and the triangle sum theorem. Today's learning target is I can apply the exterior angle theorem and the triangle sum theorem by determining the value of x or a missing angle. And just as a reminder, we've been doing this for the past few days where we've been setting up and solving, but today we're going to mix and match the problems. All right.
We're going to start off our lesson with a See, Think, Wonder. What I want you to do is to complete a See, Think, Wonder on the images below, image 1 and image 2. I want you to make sure that you are using the sentence starters here at the bottom, the I see, I think, and I wonder.
Okay, so we're going to give you just a few moments to do that one. Go ahead. Perfect. You did your See, Think, Wonder. So you definitely might have saw a bunch of things. You might have saw some angles. Miss C, what did you see or think about?
I was thinking about in image 1, what we would have to solve for. And I think that we might have to solve for what angle 12x plus 7 equals.
So you're thinking this angle right here that you want to solve for?
Yes, I think we're going to have to solve for that angle.
Cool. And then I was thinking the exact same thing, but like over in image 2, I was thinking you might have to solve for these two angles because you already have one of your angles.
And so what I think you're thinking is that we would have to figure out what the value of x is in order to determine what the angles are.
Yeah, and that was what I was wondering about. I was wondering what the value of x is and how it plays a role in both images. And I also wonder if that value of x is the same in both images, but who knows? Okay, so ladies, we can't wait to hear what you saw, what you thought, and what you wondered. So we've been learning about so many theorems in our classes here. And the two big theorems that we looked at this unit besides the mid-segment theorem is the exterior angle theorem and the triangle sum theorem. So I'm going to go over the exterior angle theorem, and then Miss C is going to go over the triangle sum theorem. So ladies, just as a refresher, the exterior angle theorem states, remember, this is how the mathematicians discuss it, the measure of an exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the measures of its two remote interior angles. That's just a whole bunch of jargon that you're in 10th grade. You don't need to know all that jargon. What we really want you to focus on is not focus on this word of remote, like your remote in students. We want you to focus on just two interior angles that are not near your exterior angle. So the setup would always look like interior plus your interior is equal to your exterior. And this is a sign that you're going to have the exterior angle theorem. You're going to have a triangle, and then you're typically going to have a line extended out of your image that's just jutting out of your page like my arm is right now. And if I look, I can say that the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B is equal to the measure of angle 1. So all you're doing is adding up those two angles, combining your like terms, and then solving for x or whatever variables in the problem. Miss C, do you want to introduce the triangle sum theorem?
Yes. So the triangle sum theorem, as you might remember it, is the sum of the measure of the angles of a triangle equals 180 degrees. What that means is that the interior angles of the triangle always add up to equal 180 degrees. When you are using the triangle sum theorem, you may find that your angles are defined, except there may be a variable involved, and you have to solve for the variable. So as you can see in this model, you'll have the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B plus the measure of angle C equals 180 degrees. This is true for all types of triangles. If it's a right triangle and an isosceles triangle, as long as it's a triangle, the interior angles will add up to 180 degrees.
Perfect. And every single day it's going to be 180. It's not going to be like, oh, today it's going to be 185 or 360. It will always be 180 degrees. Thank you so much, Missy. So ladies, what we're going to do now is we're going to answer each of these following questions on your edPuzzle. But before we do that, we want to make sure we can decide if it's a triangle sum or an exterior angle theorem problem. So before we go any further, the way I can recognize if it's exterior angle is if I have this line being drawn outside of my triangle, could be drawn out of A, could be drawn out of B, or it could be drawn out of C. And then if I just have a plain old triangle, that's triangle sum. So Miss C, can you read the question for number 1?
Determine the value of 3x.
So ladies, before we even go into this problem, we want to figure out if this is exterior angle theorem or triangle sum. And I think this is triangle sum. What do you think, Miss C?
I agree with you.
Perfect. So what we're going to do right now is we're just going to write triangle sum right next to it. or above it, whatever your heart desires. I'm going to write triangle sum. So now that I have triangle sum written, Miss C mentioned before that I just add my angles up and set them equal to 180. So ladies, if I'm adding up all my angles and setting them equal to 180, what would my setup be? Well, my setup would be x plus 2x plus 3x equals 180, because I always remember that there's 180 degrees in a triangle. Miss C, I have a question. To make this equation look simpler, do I have any like terms?
Yes. So x plus 2x plus 3x can be simplified to equal 6x.
Perfect. So one thing that I see very often is that a lot of students are going to write 5x is equal to 180. Ladies, make sure that in front of your x that you put a 1. That way you know it's 1 plus 2 plus 3. So I have 6x equals 180. And now this becomes a one-step equation. So I have to ask myself, how do I get rid of my 6? I divide by 6. And then I get x is equal to 30. Now, Miss C, I'm done with the problem, right?
Are you done with the problem?
I don't think so, sadly. So ladies, if I look at this question, it says determine the value of 3x. I found the value of x, so I know that this angle is 30 degrees. But I really want to find out what the value of this angle is right here. So everyone, go ahead, Miss C.
So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to substitute x for the value of x. Perfect. Which means every place where you see an x, you're going to replace that x with the number 30. The question is specifically asking for the value of 3x, which means that you're going to have to do 3 times 30.
So ladies, what's 3 times 30? 90 degrees. So my final answer is 90 degrees. And that's how you do the triangle sum theorem. All right, now let's go on to number 2. Determine the value of x. So Miss C, I think this is triangle sum also. What do you think it is?
I disagree with you.
Okay, good. So what do you think it is?
I think we're going to have to use the exterior angle theorem.
Okay, and can you just explain to me why we're going to use the exterior angle theorem?
In order to determine the value of x, we don't have all 3 angles of the triangle in order to use the triangle sum theorem, but we do have an exterior angle.
Perfect. And that's 100% correct. So ladies, the way we set up our exterior angle theorem, if we look back ahead, I mean, from before, interior plus interior is equal to your exterior. So what Miss C is saying is that you have 2 interior angles, the 2x plus 3 and the 51. I'm going to add them up and set them equal to 100. So the first thing I do is I combine my like terms, and in this case, my like terms are 3 and 51, and 3 plus 51 is 54. So I have 2x plus 54 equals 100. And I did that by combining my 3 and my 51. So now, ladies, what we want to know is how do you get rid of your plus 54? I subtract 54 from both sides of my equation. And when I subtract by 54, I get 2x is equal to, let's see if we can do this in our head. What's 100 minus 54? 40. I have to use a calculator for this one. Let's see. I actually have to think about this one. 100 minus 54. Oh, my calculator's dead. Let's look. Calculator, 100 minus 54, 46. That's what I thought it was. I thought it was 46, but I wasn't sure. And then Missy, how do I get rid of my multiply by 2?
You would have to divide both sides of the equation by the number 2.
Perfect. So I get x is equal to 23. And now, just to make sure we're done, we go back to the question. It says determine the value of x. So I'm done, right, Missy?
You are not done.
For this one, no, I think I am done. It says
oh, you are done. I'm so sorry.
Oh my God, you're going to stress the kids out. Yeah, so I just get x equals 23, and now we're done. Now let's go on to question number 3. So first thing we have to figure out is this exterior angle theorem or triangle sum. I think this one's exterior angle. What do you think?
I agree with you.
So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write down exterior angle. And ladies, what we're going to ask you before is look at the previous example that we just did and try to do the setup by yourself for this one. How would I set up the exterior angle theorem? Perfect. If you set it up correctly, your answer should look like this. My interior plus my interior is equal to my exterior. So I have 10x minus 3 plus 84 is equal to 21x plus 4, because these are my two interior angles. So the first thing I have to ask myself is if I want to solve for x, I have to combine my like terms. So Miss C, on the left-hand side of my equation, what would I be combining?
You would be combining -3 and 84.
Thank you so much. So ladies, pay attention. Miss C said -3 and 84. It's not just a 3, it's a -3. So -3 plus 84 is 81. So I have 10x plus 81 equals 21x plus 4. So ladies, I'm going to do actually something that Jael brought up in class last time because she didn't want to deal with any negative x's in her solution. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask ourselves, how do I get rid of a plus 10x? To get rid of a plus 10x, I subtract 10x from both sides of my equation.
The reason that Mr. O is doing it this way is because he is taking the x that has a number before it that is smaller. So he's subtracting the 10 instead of subtracting the 21. If he subtracted the 21, he would have gotten a negative value.
And then I would just had so many negatives that would have overwhelmed my brain with this problem. So ladies, when we're now going to combine our like terms, so 21x minus 10x, we just do 21 minus 10, so we get an 11x. And then I have 11x plus 4. Miss C, how do I get rid of my plus 4?
You subtract 4 from both sides of the equation.
And then I get 77 equals 11x. And if we look, now we only have positive numbers. So now I divide both sides of my equation by an 11. And I get x is equal to 7. But me and Miss C already have made a mistake so far, so we have to go back to the question. And it says, determine the measure of angle TSG. So if we look, we're not done. We only have one more step. We start at T, go to S, and end at G. So we want to find the value of this angle right here. So Miss C, everywhere I see an X, what number am I going to substitute?
You're going to substitute the number 7.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So we're going to do 21. I'm going to actually change the color now to blue. I'm going to do 21 times 7 plus 4. I definitely can't do that in my head, and I like to do math in my head. So I'm going to do 21 times 7. That is 100% incorrect. I got 5,000 for a second. That's totally wrong. 21 times 7 is 147 plus 4, which will give me 151 degrees. And then we're done with that problem. 2 more, and then we're done, ladies. Number 4. Ooh, find the measure of the smallest angle. Miss C, is this triangle sum or exterior angle theorem?
This is triangle sum.
Perfect. And ladies, just so we can make sure we're on the same page, this is triangle sum because it does not have that line extended out of my image. So if we know that the angles in a triangle all add up to 180 degrees, I can take these angles, add them up, and set them equal to 180. So I have 5x plus 20 plus 9x plus 18 plus 44 equals 180. And looking at this, doesn't this look pretty intimidating? I think so. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it step by step and we're going to combine our like terms. So Miss C, on the left-hand side of my equation, what can I combine with my 5x?
You can combine your 9x.
Good. So ladies, when I combine 5x and 9x, I just do 5 plus 9. I add those coefficients and I get 14x. And then Miss C, I can combine all these numbers. I can combine 20, 18, and 44, correct?
Correct.
Oh my God, more math. Jesus, who signed up for this? So 20 plus 18 plus 44, we get plus 82. And that's all equal to 180. Because remember, there's 180 degrees in a triangle. So we want to get x by itself, so we got to get rid of that 82. Miss C, how do I get rid of that 82?
You subtract from both sides.
Beautiful. So subtract 82, subtract 82. I get 14x equals 180 minus 82 is 98. At least I hope it is. And then last but not least, how do I get rid of my 14?
Divide both sides of the equation by 14.
Perfect. So divide by 14 and I get x is equal to 7. Now, Miss C, we're done with this problem, right? It says find x, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so we're done. Ladies, do you think we're 100% done with this problem? If so, write yes. If not, write no. Okay, so trick question. Miss C and I are actually incorrect with this problem. Because if we look, we found x, which is exactly what we wanted to do. However, the question is saying find the measure of the smallest angle. So as Miss C has been mentioning, everywhere we see an x, what are we going to now have to substitute?
The number 7.
The number 7. So I'm going to have to go to these two equations or expressions that I don't know much about. I don't have to plug it in here because I know that this angle is 44 degrees. So I'm going to plug in 7. So I do 5 times 7 plus 20. And Liddy, so I'm going to ask you what 5 times 7 plus 20 is. Yep, if you typed in Desmos correctly, it'll be 55 degrees. Now we're going to go over to our 9x plus 18. We're still going to type in 7. Substitute in 7. And I do 9 times 7 plus 18. And that'll give me 81 degrees. Thank you, ladies. So now we have to ask ourselves, what's the smallest angle? What's smaller, a 44, a 55, or an 81? Miss C, what's the smallest angle?
I think that the smallest angle is 81.
The smallest angle is 81?
Am I correct?
No, that's the largest angle. Ladies, the smallest angle is 44 degrees because that's the smallest number. So there's no trick questions with that one. If we ask you what the smallest angle is, it's the smallest number. If we ask you the largest angle, it's the largest number. Now, here's your final question. The digging deeper about Naidelli and Grissel. Missy, do you want to read this part for me?
Naidelli and Grissel were working on their geometry homework, but disagreed on which theorem to use. The question was, determine the value of angle A.
I'll read what Naidelli said, and do you want to read what Grissel said?
Sure.
Okay, so Naidelli said that you could use the exterior angle theorem to find the angle because 9x plus 4 is an exterior angle.
Grissel said that she could use the triangle sum theorem for this problem because there are 3 angles labeled in the triangle. Who is correct? Explain why.
Ladies, what we want to see is your answer on edPuzzle. Make sure that once you finish your edPuzzle, hit turn in and come back to the Zoom. See you shortly.